Says, okay, cool. We are live in effect. You know what I'm saying? It's the Polka Dot Rabbit podcast. You know what I'm saying? I'm here, my good brother, Dr. Gabriel Hernandez-El. You know what I'm saying? And this
Peace and love, family.
yeah, man, I'm very happy. One of the reasons why I picked this brother, man, is just because we had some build sessions, man, that just cracked my skull. You know what I'm saying? Like on many different topics, you know what I'm saying? And I one of the main reasons I reached out to this good brother is just because he's so knowledgeable in so many different fields. Last time we spoke on martial arts, you know what I'm saying? But we're gonna go a whole different route today, you know what I'm saying? And
Right.
of course, let me tell everybody, please, you get on there, please share it, like, you know what I'm saying? Get your people out here, to watch this because it's gonna be a very powerful night. And also, of course, if you haven't already, go to yourbrozo.com and pick up my book, Bicultural Living and Leaving the World of Illusions. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
And and again, like, subscribe, follow the Polka Dot Rabbit podcast. And as I always do, I always like to give my guests um let them introduce themselves, what they do, and et cetera, et cetera. So, let's go ahead and roll with it.
Indeed. Peace and love, family. As the brother shared, I am to some people Dr. Hernandez, to some people Sheik Hernandez-El. So just depending on where you know me and how you know me, it may change a little bit. But for the most part, I'm a father of five. I have been in the Moorish movement since the 90s. I began my studies probably around 1994, 95. Um, I'm an acupuncturist. I went to I went to the acupuncture school in Georgia, a Hempy Center for Wholeness and Holistic Theology, founded by Dr. Mark Armstrong. I also became a naturopath under that same lineage. Um, I've been training Qigong uh, for over 20 something years, but I've been teaching officially for about 20 years. Um, I could go on and on. I'm an internal student, so I'm still in school. I have other stuff under my belt, but yeah, I'm always looking for more information, more knowledge that I can apply to my life to make my life better, and hopefully I can share with others to assist them in getting where they're trying to go in life.
Yeah, man. Yeah, every time I talk to you and you just kind of talk about all the different things you've done, man, it's always a beautiful thing to see a good brother, you know what I'm saying, that devoted himself to, just elevation, man. So, I appreciate that, man. Much love to you and the family, you know what I'm saying?
Thanks.
Um, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump right into it. All right.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna kind of tell a story first while I'm even talking about this, because and we talked about this before.
And I sent you the links to the slides. So if you're able to share the slides
Okay,
while I
let me
go over
see.
them, that's definitely
Let me
fair.
see. Let me see where did you send them to? Did you see?
I sent them to the same email you sent me everything.
Oh, you sent me an email. Okay, cool,
Uh,
cool, cool. I
yeah.
got you. But you can actually put it in the chat.
I can't.
Yeah.
Well, how
They're
do I?
just links, right? Just go to the.
Um, Let me see if it'll give me a link. This is like in my Google like photos where it
Okay, let me
allows
see.
me to.
I'm gonna look into this real quick. See what you
Okay, let
got
me see.
popping. Let's see. Let's see.
You know what? It will give me. Allows me to create a link. So let me see. Awesome. Okay, I copy that, and then let's see.
You say you sent it to Google Drive. Is that correct?
I sent it to your email, but I shared it, I guess, through my Google Photos,
Google
if that
Photos.
makes sense.
Let me see.
But I did share it in the chat just now.
Okay, let me see what's going on here. Okay, there you go. Chat. Let's see what we're working with now. All right. on 1 second. Let me see what we got going on here.
You good, my brother? Take your time.
In the meantime, when I'm trying to figure this out, I would like you to paint a picture
Mhm.
of the history of the Moors, starting from the, the inception on into modern day. Because a lot of people don't know this story. You know what I mean? And it needs to be told. And also, if you would talk about go on the story specifically about the honorable, nobledrewali, the prophet. You
Yeah.
know, I would definitely like because I, you you schooled me on some things the last time we saw each other. You schooled me on some things about him. I was just like, good grace, I didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Yeah, the things that he really did, that it's not talked about. Most of
yeah,
it
yeah.
is left under the rug, brother. So you know, um, you know, I'm not gonna say I dug it up myself, but myself and a few other brothers I know over the last um, probably 12 years or so
Hmm.
have done some really important work as far as uncovering the cover up, if you will.
Hmm.
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, so you want to go ahead and go in?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I'm while you going in, I'm actually looking at your information. Yeah, so go ahead. I'm gonna work on this and
okay.
go
So
ahead and roll with it, man.
I'm
The
gonna
floor is
start.
yours.
All right, so I'm not gonna go all the way back into antiquity just yet.
Okay,
Okay.
cool, cool, cool.
Because I want a few things to be like clear, and so that when people are listening to this, they have some context. A little lemon water here. Um, so Amor, um, if you were to go into I have the slide up. So if the slides are up, I'm not sure. If you get them up, let me know because I'm actually not
Yeah,
seeing
let
the
me
screen.
see. Let me see.
I'm
Let me
just
see.
looking at the slides right now. So
Let me
excuse me if I'm not like
see.
looking in the camera or something.
See
Um,
Chrome tab.
so we're going to touch on the etymology and the definitions of more, just so we can
Hmm.
have a place to start from.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay,
Yeah,
it's up here.
you got it up. Okay. Let
Yep.
me see. Let me see what you got. All right. Okay. Are you able to put that into what is that called? The slideshow mode.
Let me see.
I think if you go to the top of the file there, you'll see the three dots. If you click on
Full screen layout.
the three dots right at the top on the
Oh,
right
you
hand side.
on the original inside or the original let me see.
Um, yeah. So on your right hand side at the top, just below the rabbit, you see those
Okay.
three dots.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
If you click on those three dots, it should
Mhm.
give you a drop down and give you the option for a slideshow, I believe.
Okay, cuz I'm seeing remove from stream full screen layout. Let me go back here cuz I did see slide. I do see it slides. Okay. I got you. So, let's see. Google Slides. Let's see it. Google Slides. 1 second. Let's see here. Okay, I see what's. I see, okay, I see what's going on.
Yeah, it should be right inside your Google Photos file.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see what we're rocking with now. Let's see. But
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and just begin.
yeah,
And,
I'm gonna work on this for you.
yep. So it the definition slash etymology, when the first things that come out of this is North African Berber, right?
Hmm.
Now, North African North Africa is vast, right?
Hmm.
That includes the Maghreb. It comes down into the Sahara, all the way across from basically Ghana to Somalia. You know what I mean? Pretty
Hmm.
much. The Sudan. And if you wanted to get technical and actually deal with the scholarship, that would also include the Arabian Peninsula, if you will.
Hmm.
Uh, so, North African Berber, one of the race. Now, Berber, let me deal with Berber just for a second. Berber has a lot of misnomer connotations applied to it. I could do an actual entire show just on the term Berber, let alone the history, and I'll touch some more on that because it's very important. But the reason why this is important here is that when you're looking at the etymology of a word and you see North African and then you see Berber, those are synonyms for the term Moor that you see at the top there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And it says one of the race dwelling in Barbary. Now, Barbary also is a reference to North Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um, and it says late 14th century. Okay. What's late 14th century is the English term Moor, Moor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's from Old French more, from medieval Latin morus, from Latin morus, inhabitant of Mauritania, right? Which is ancient Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, and what is also considered the Maghreb today, right?
Mm-hmm.
So inhabitants of Mauritania, Roman Northwest Africa, a region now corresponding to northern Algeria and Morocco, as I just explained, from Greek modus, perhaps a native name, or else cognate with moros. And then you see in parentheses it says black, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is key, right? Because when we get into more science and the lessons, it tells you black according to science means death, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is key because I'm going to back up just a little bit. It says at the beginning of that sentence, uh, moros, from Greek, moros, perhaps a native name, or else cognate with moros, black. So it's giving you two things, right? That it could
Mm-hmm.
be. It's either the native name of the people, they call themselves this, or we have this term that we use for black, moros.
Mm-hmm.
But let me go further because what's going to end up exposing itself is that the term moros does not mean black. It's actually a reference to the people that we know as the Moors, right? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so-called black people, and we can deal with that as well. Um, but what happens is, uh, let me go in here. Perhaps a native name or else cognate with moros, black. But this adjective only appears in late Greek and may as well be from the people's name as the reverse. So again, it's telling you it's really from the people's name
Mm-hmm.
because when it became used as black, that was as a derogatory for us. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So as we go further, it says also applied to the Arabic conquerors of Spain, being a dark people in relation to Europeans. This is why it became black later. Their name in the Middle Ages was a synonym for Negro, the Spanish word for black.
Mm-hmm.
Later, 16th century, 17th century, being the nearest Muslims to Western Europe, it was used indiscriminately of Muslims, Persians, Arabs, etc., but especially those in India. And that's also key because we're talking about uh, what Drusilla Dunges Houston refers to as the beautiful Ethiopians,
Mm-hmm.
uh, but the Cushites, the
Cushites.
people, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's called Kushadweep, okay? Especially those in India, cognate with Dutch Moor, German Moor, Danish Morer, Spanish Moro, Italian Moro, related Morris, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is all. That's just to lay a foundation, a basic foundation, because you can see where the writers here had a little struggle amongst themselves. One
Mm-hmm.
was like, "Hey, this may be their name, but maybe not." Because
Mm-hmm.
what you have to do now is look at what's the term for black in the old Greek.
Mm-hmm.
It's Malanos, not Moro.
Milanos.
Not
Mm-hmm.
moral. That's why they said it showed up in the late Greek. It's not in the old Greek. It's only in the newer Greek. It happened later. You know what I'm saying? And when you follow that succession of time, it tells you that it does not show up in the early Greek. because that was the name of the people. It shows up later as a term for black because melanos, like melanin, means black
Mm-hmm.
in Greek,
Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So the next slide goes into, again, we're just dealing with a little bit of more education as far as the definition. So one of the definitions of Moors is indigenous Africans closely associated with the Amazigh, Berbers, the Kabils, Afro-Arabs, Fulani, and other African Muslims who joined them. Ibero-Mauritians, a Neolithic people living both in Iberia and northwestern Africa. The common link with these three word is mar, more, and more. And the reason why that's key is because those are native names for the people. So
Mm.
when we actually go into the continent, and that's not even all of it. That's just the tip of the iceberg, brother.
Mm-hmm.
So these are ancient names amongst our people of our people. This is
Mm-hmm.
why when the European came, because many of us identified under these names,
Mm-hmm.
these nationalities, if you will. Okay. The next slide. You gotta excuse me. This exact dictionary, it's an older dictionary. I don't have the reference on here,
Okay.
uh, but it says more, moros, and then it says probably of Berber origin. You see that again, right?
Mm-hmm.
A member, and then remember, this Berber is going to come in. This is going to come in handy, right? Because when you study that term, they try to trick the people into saying the barbarians.
Yeah.
Okay, this happened later, but we know those who know history know that the true barbarians, right, as we know the terminology for barbarians is referring to the Germans.
Mm-hmm.
That's a different conversation.
Yeah.
But the Berbers, who were given the term barbarians by the Europeans, they tried to flip it. But let me get back on task.
Mm-hmm.
So, probably of Berber origin, a member of a dark skinned people of mixed Arab and Berber ancestry inhabiting ancient Mauritania in North Africa and conquering Spain in the 8th century AD. It also goes on to say Moroccan, Berber, Muslim, Mormon, Black Moor. The issue I have with this one is that it says uh, archaic, and then it says Blackamoor. I did an 18-page thesis on the inception of the term and the word black, and
Mm-hmm.
especially dealing with the term Blackamoor. And, it only goes back to the 14th century.
Mm.
So we're not talking about, you can't really call that archaic.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but if you continue, there's also some more interesting stuff here because it says one of a group of people of mixed Indian, white, and Negro ancestry in central Delaware. Compare Nanticoke. Okay. I'm not going to go into that on in this episode, but
Mm-hmm.
I definitely wanted to leave that hanging in the air because not only is it ancient over there, it's also ancient over here, is my
Yeah.
point. You
Gotcha.
know, and this can all be verified and attested to by the record. So
Mm-hmm.
now I'm going to go a little bit into the history specifically of the Moorish Science Temple
Okay.
before I go into the historicity and the antiquity of the Moors as a people, and,
Okay.
and why it's important and who they are and what the connections to Egypt are. Like you mentioned, I already knew you were gonna go there, brother. So I was prepared. I got the meter out. I went ahead and pulled it out. So I got excited about this one. I spent a few hours because I had to go through all of these records just to pull all of this stuff and put it in one little place. You
Mhm. Yeah, yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So that's why it kind of maybe looks a little jumbled. But if you're able to hit that thing and put it in slideshow mode, let me know.
Let me
And
see. Let me see some where it says slideshow mode because I saw it earlier.
I I think you have to look in your right where you're at. Okay, the rabbit is over it on the actual StreamYard here, but if you're looking at your Google Photos, if you slide
Uh,
across that top line and you
oh, the
see
Google Photos. Okay, let's see.
uh-huh, and you see there you go, the three buttons, just click on that.
All right, three buttons. Okay,
Yeah, and it should
slideshow. Okay,
boom.
cool.
Oh, we in there.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Well, you want to open it
So
up a little.
so you doing that, right?
Oh no, you did that, but you're gonna
Oh,
have
I
to
did it.
pause. You're gonna have to
Oh, I got to
pause it
pause. Oh, okay, I got you. I'm
in
with you. I'm
a
with you.
second. Yeah. Yeah.
Ah, see, I got it. See, learn something new. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? All right, let's see. So I'm going forward. Should
Oh,
I
am I
stop
able
here?
to do it? Yeah, right there.
Right
Yep.
there. Okay, cool, cool.
All right. So the Moorish Science Temple of America was founded by the Holy Prophet Nobledrewali, May 1st, 1913. It was headquartered at the old Canaanite Temple building, 7 Ruckert Street, corner of 12th Avenue and West Market Street in Newark, New Jersey. Okay. So that's the foundation of the Moorish Science Temple. Um, it was, and many people, and just to clarify, that was pretty clear, but to clarify for people, the Moorish Science Temple was not known as the Canaanite Temple at that time. The Moorish Science Temple, as it was, which didn't have the name the Moorish Science Temple at that time, Prophet Noble Drew Ali was simply teaching, right? But he was teaching at the Canaanite Temple, but he was teaching his own classes.
Okay.
So that, just for clarity's sake,
Okay.
you know what I'm
All right.
saying? The historicity to be on point. The Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali founded the Moorish Divine and National Movement of North America in 1916. Some historians give this date as May 1st, 1916. He would later, and during that time also, he was doing a lot of healing work. So that's also where he got into healing. And there's records of that. And there's a missing book that I'm sure somebody's got it, but there's a book that has all of his healing uh, methodologies in it.
Hmm.
But like I said, many things were covered up and hidden and destroyed on purpose. Um, he would later move his movement from New Jersey to Chicago, Illinois in 1917. And let me just say this too, real quick. Um, Let me see, because I want to make sure I did not accidentally say it. So, just for clarity, many I was taught this, and I'm sure most Moors and in or out of the temple believe that his first name is Timothy
Mm-hmm.
Drew,
Mm-hmm.
but to give honors, his name is Thomas Drew.
Okay.
Okay, just for clarity, that was another thing that was covered up. They actually changed his name on documents and all kind of stuff. So it's really deep. Noble Drew Ali organized as the Moorish Science Temple of Science in 1925. He opened the first temple of the Moorish Temple of Science on October 15th, 1925 at 329 East 36th Street, excuse me, 36th Place, Chicago, Illinois. The following year, on November 29th, 1926, the Moorish Temple of Science was incorporated as a civic organization under the laws of the Secretary of State of Illinois. In 1927, the Holy Prophet established the Moorish Publishing Company, which published the Holy Quran and later the Moorish Guide, with the first national edition being published September 1928.
Okay. Go. Want to go forward?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. All right.
On May 2nd, 1928, the name Moorish Science Temple was legally changed to the Moorish Science Temple of America. On May 21st, 1928, the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali traveled to Mexico. Now you hear all these stories about him traveling elsewhere, but those other travels are not documented.
Mm.
Now, if they do come up, I'll be the first to, share it.
Mm-hmm.
But those things have not been verified. Some of those, I don't know if the people watching or yourself have seen some of the, I guess they're like, what do they call them? Where you can like go to the city and you have like you can. They basically had they were honoring Noble Drew Ali's birthday, um, and but they have put so much just false information in there. It was mixed in with the truth, and it sounded good, but it just wasn't right and exact. And so most of those were actually removed and rescinded. But that's a whole nother show also. Let me see, where did I leave off? Okay, so on July 20th, 1928, at a special meeting for Mealy Ill, Small Bay, Lovett Bay, and Foreman Bay, the Holy Prophet changed the organization's corporate status to religious. So that's when it went from a civics organization to a religious organization. And we'll touch on civics in just a minute. Because I think a lot of people have a misunderstanding of what civics actually is. In the Moorish leader's historical message to America, nobledrewali made it clear that the work of the Moorish Science Temple of America was largely religious. An affidavit of religious organization, Form 1099, was filed August 1st, 1928. You can click to the next one. Okay, so the Great Moorish Parade. The Holy Prophet nobledrewali is reported to have said, "Our nationality begins with this parade." On Wednesday, October 17th, 1928, at 2 o'clock, more than 3,000 Moorish Americans in Moroccan costumes. Now, mind you, this is from an actual, what do you call it? I forget which newspaper it was. This is from a newspaper in Chicago at the
Newspaper
time.
clip.
Yeah, this is
Editorial.
yeah, I forget which newspaper it was. It was one of the main newspapers of the time, but if I remember, I'll say what it was. So Americans in Moroccan costumes, and each carrying a flag of the nation of their forefathers, which is the Moorish flag, and an American flag on their right, assembled at 37th and Federal Street, where they have purchased a temple site. And there, after having a group picture, which was very colorful, formed for a parade. Prophet nobledrewali, in securing a permit for the parade, also secured a squad of European police to accompany his car in the parade. The line of march. Now, mind you, this is what
I
year?
know.
What year is this? It's 1928. So imagine,
1928.
and I'm gonna get into it, but imagine how much power you have to have European police protecting the event. How much power? Now he hired them, so they don't, you know.
They didn't have to do it. You know what I'm saying? They could easily said no. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna show you, and I'm gonna show you the importance of this and where this power comes from.
Okay.
All right. So Prophet nobledrewali, in securing a permit for the parade, also secured a squad of European, and it says can police, to accompany his car in the parade. The line, I think that means that they were walking like a barricade. The line of march was from 37th and Federal Streets east to Wabash and north on Wabash of 32nd Street, then to the temple at 3140 Indiana Avenue. It was one of the most beautiful parades that had been held in Chicago for a number of years. It was stated by all of the leading newspapers of the city. This parade did much to inform those who were not acquainted with the movement as to the aims and proposed of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Many citizens had never seen so many Moorish Americans dressed in Moroccan costumes, therefore voiced their hearty approval. The parade ended with a group picture on the steps of the temple headquarters, 3141 Indiana Avenue, Chicago, Illinois. Peace. Yeah, you can go to the next slide for me.
Okay. I think I already did.
Oh, you did. It looked like it went back to the first.
Let me see. Let me see if I. 1 second. Let me go back.
Okay, it might have been extra in there. Okay, no, you're right. So yeah, perfect.
Right here, nationality.
Yeah, go to the next one. Yep.
So
okay. Yeah, because I wanted to deal with this really quickly. You gonna have
right here, political slavery.
No, bring it back and pause it.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah, because it moves on its own unless you pause it. Okay, so now that we've dealt with all of that, now one of the biggest questions dealing with Moorish Americans in these days and times is nationality, right? Now that we've dealt with all of that, now one of the biggest questions dealing with Moors, Moorish Americans in these days and times. You hear that echo? Right? You hear me, brothers?
Yeah, I'm good. Go ahead.
I heard a little echo going on. So this is just a quick breakdown of what nationality is, so that
Okay.
everyone we all be on the same page, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So nationality is that quality or character which arises from the fact of a person's belonging to a nation or state. Nationality determines the political status of the individual, especially with reference to allegiance, while domicile determines his civil status. Nationality arises either by birth or by naturalization. According to Savigny, nationality is also used as opposed to territoriality for the purpose of distinguishing the case of a nation having no national territory, i.e., the Jews.
Mm.
If you can go to the next slide for me. So I just wanted to make sure we're on the same page with that, right?
Okay.
And this is now I'm going to start getting into the aims and goals of the Moorish Science Temple and what gave uh, Prophet nobledrewali and the Moors in the 20s the power that they had.
Okay.
Okay? So this is directly from nobledrewali, and it was an article in our newspaper titled "Political Slavery." And it says, anytime a man or a woman fails or refuses to cast a sacred ballot at the polls, they separate themselves from all rights of an American citizen. For surely this is the one connecting medium for a citizen to his nation. They become no more than belated beasts of burden. These are reasons why certain classes who are more or less independent take no part in politics. They say that just from my end, but can you hear that? What is that?
Yeah, it just sounded like you got a little muffled a little bit.
Okay,
Are
okay.
you good?
I heard a little stat. So I just wanted to just break it down. Stop for a second. All right. So let me just start over. Anytime a man or a woman fails or refuses to cast a sacred ballot at the polls, they separate themselves from all rights of an American citizen. For surely this is the one connecting medium for a citizen to his nation. They become no more than belated beasts of burden. There are reasons why certain classes who are more or less independent take no part in politics, since they say they get nothing out of such in the way of material gain. This is no less than a political slave, since they refuse to voice their sentiments at the polls. Another form of political slavery, which is probably more prevalent among the less independent classes, is that of being forced into one of the major parties, and, and there bribed, coerced, or otherwise forced to vote the wishes of someone else, regardless of their own minds, before there can be general relief for the economic good of all forms of political slavery must be abolished, and every citizen must take his part in the affairs of the nation. Why is this important, right? Why was nobledrewali talking about voting in the 20s? When I was growing up, they taught me that we couldn't vote until 1964, till the Voting Rights Act. And you heard Uncle Jesse, and you heard uh, Al Sharpton, how important the Voting Rights Act is. We have been voting since the beginning. You can definitely go to the next slide. I just wanted to harp on that because I know a lot of us have a misunderstanding of what voting is and what voting does. Now, when we're talking about voting in the presidential election, it is not the same as your local politics. It's not even close. Your vote actually counts. And the people that are sitting in those seats, they have to answer to the people. That's when they say power to the people. That's what that means. And if you don't take your place at that table, you, what do they say? If you're not, if your dinner, basically. You know what I mean? If you're not sitting at the table, you're on the table. You're on the menu. You know what I mean? So we were talking about citizenship, and you heard me kind of speak on civics earlier. So I just wanted to deal with this, the definition of civics really quick, so that again, we have a cohesive understanding collectively, so that we're not listening to YouTube scholars that say civics is one thing when really it's another. So let's see what it is, right? So civics is the branch of political science that deals with civic affairs and the rights and duties of citizens, right? And that's from American Heritage Dictionary. Civics is the study of the theoretical and practical aspects of citizenship, its rights and duties, the duties of citizens to each other as members of a political body and to the government, includes the study of civil law and civil code, and the study of government with attention to the role of citizens as opposed to external factors in the operation and oversight of government. Why is this important? Go to the next slide for me, please, my brother. So, just to break that down before I talk on this one, civics is the rights and responsibilities of the citizen. That's it. What are your rights and responsibilities? You need to definitely know your rights, right? And you should know your responsibilities. Um, and the reason why that is because a lot of people come into the Moorish movement and they think it's some type of get out of jail free card. They think it's some type of paperwork demonstration. We do not stand on that. That is antithetical to Moorish science, to nobledrewali, to the Moorish Science Temple of America. Period. When you see that, run the other way. I'm letting you know now. That's the first caveat. Okay. Now, look what nobledrewali. This is the first example I'm going to give. I already gave an example of the power, but let me show you how the power is used by eliminating the concepts dealing with political slavery, right? Because again, now I don't know about you, brother Zoe. You know, I know we might have had this conversation before, but before we had that conversation, or I don't know if we have or not. So excuse me if we haven't. But what was your understanding as far as when so-called Black people were allowed to vote in this country? If you can hear me, can you hear me there, brother? Okay, I'm not sure if brother Zoe can hear me. But anyway, so any of you that might be on live or watching this, um, I ask you that question too. Obviously, you can't answer me back at this moment. You probably can in the chat, but I can't see it. But I would like to know where everyone else is on that. Is that you, brother Zoe? You coming in? Okay, I thought I heard a little feedback going on. But either way, so let me just demonstrate this. So the 3,000 Muslims of the Grand Temple of the West Side Temple, 3,000, 3,000 Moors, one temple on the west side of Chicago, are making ready to register every man and woman in order to take the lead for the various candidates whom they have instructed to vote. For Alderman Lewis B. Anderson, Honorable George W. Blackwell, which is a judge, Honorable Oscar Dupreece, Honorable H. Jackson, all working through the regular Republican organizations of which the Honorable Daniel M. Jackson is our matchless leader, all know the whole situation and have their own way and time to give the order to go. The Muslims will be ready. Do you know nobledrewali hand selected those men, instructed them on what to do, instructed the Moors on what to do. All of those men were put in office in 1928. And if you really want to go back, go study where it says Honorable Oscar Dupreece. That's somebody you might want to look up. because if you go back, the year that Noble-Drew-Ali was born, 1886, all so-called black Moorish congressmen, senators were removed forcibly from their seats, from their office. And the last one was finally removed in 1901. However, the Moors in Chicago put the first brother back into office, into the Congress, brother Oscar the Priest, in 1928. So this is major history. We're talking about the Moors had a congressman, right? Congressman for Illinois was MSTA in Chicago. They had 2 judges, an alderman. This is like city council, brother kind of handles things in the neighborhood. Now, I don't know if y'all can see what was happening right here, but this is a power move. This doesn't demonstrate the fact that one of the members of the temple was the brother, and I forget his name, excuse me, who owned the first black bank in Chicago, if you will. Okay, so there was some serious moves being made. Now, Noble-Drew-Ali ended up transitioning the following year. So again, that's a whole nother story. I won't touch on that at the moment. Brother Zoe, you trying to come in? If you can go to the next slide, if you can hear me. Okay. So this is important because, when people deal with nationality, also, I want them to know that it does not determine status at law, nor is it a determining factor of how laws are applied to certain individuals. So when you hear people talking about, oh, when you go into court, do X, Y, and Z because you are a Moorish American, don't do it. That's not what we do.
Yeah.
Noble-Drew-Ali had 2 lawyers. Okay, he had like the dream team, if you will, of his day. He didn't play. That's not how men move. Men, they got families. You got children. You got responsibilities. You're not gonna go out here and put our family at risk like that. Why would you do that?
Indeed.
The prophet said the only way out of the fire is through it. Stop trying to run around. No, we got to stand up and face this stuff. You're scared of the politics. Oh, the politics. Man, get off of that. Realize that everything that goes on in your community is based on the politics in your community. Whether you like it or not. You don't like the word, so what? Figure out how you can take over the politics in your area.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's that simple. You get look, I can say, look, we all on the south side. We all know some good brothers here on the south side.
Yeah.
Right? We can all say, Brother Zoe, we just got the one brother in office, right? So now we got a good mayor. The brother even moved to the hood. You saw that, right?
Yep.
What's the brother's name? Met him a few years back. Not Khaled. That's right. Brother Khaled.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
So we got Brother Khaled here on the south side as the mayor, right? Now we just need Brother Zoe as the, you know what I'm saying, in charge of definitely on the city council.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we can start getting these parks back put together. Some of these streets have got these big holes in it because now we get all these trucks riding through. You riding down certain areas, Fairburn, Campbellton is, some dead. We need to clean all that up. And it's also important to know, like, that all of the money that comes into our districts and to our little cities and our, areas, all of that is decided by the people that's sitting on that council. You get what I'm saying? They decide what's getting funded. They see the budget. All that money is for the people in that area. Period. There's grants, there's contracts. And if you don't know, let's say, better yet, let's say you're in there, right? I got a construction company. And you say to me, hey, Brother Hernandez-El, bro, we got $3 million worth of contracts. Put your bid in. Come put your bid in.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And let's say now I put my bid in, brother Sadiq put his bid in,
Mm-hmm.
so forth and so on. And
Mm-hmm.
now we got out of right. So if you on the council, that means you was able to,
Bring it all together.
man, you brought your people in. Now
Mm-hmm.
everybody eating. As a matter of fact, when you get put in city council, you get a nice little salary and you get a budget to hire people. So the
Mm.
people that that need to be on the team for you to make sure you're doing what you need to do for the people, you can
Mm-hmm.
put those people in place.
Yeah.
Aldermen, where they have aldermen at, that's in certain areas. Man, those positions are powerful. Those,
Yeah.
those people get budgets and
Mm-hmm.
for a whole staff and the whole man. That's why them people be trying to stay in politics
Yeah.
forever.
Forever. Yeah. Because they can make number one control, and also the people that are righteous can make major change.
And let me tell you, this is what the prophet was doing. He was hand picking, hand selecting
I
these
see.
judges.
I see. I see.
Selecting. You get what I mean?
Back then, man, that's kind of mind blowing, man. Just kind of thinking about how somebody would not only have just the idea to do it, but to execute it as well.
Nobledrewali created the voting block.
Mm.
That's where you get 50. You start with 50, but 200. But you see, I just read he had a 3,000 person voting block in Chicago on the west
Mm.
side.
Mm.
You, I ain't gonna.
I know that's heavy, man, for
It's
real.
heavy. It's super heavy because he was light years ahead of this thing,
Yeah,
and there were people that didn't want that to happen.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. Let me just kind of see these are the things you're talking about now, especially after talking to you and just doing more research. These are the type of things that intrigue me so much about this brother. You know what I'm saying, and about what happened because you keep on looking at things that are happening today.
yes.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And you think about. I mean, I'm trying to go back in my mind's eye to for perfect example, just seeing this parade back then. You know what I'm saying?
I have a few pictures. I can forward you some. I had to dig
Uh-huh.
them up a little bit, but there's a few pictures.
You know what I'm saying? But just the mindset of everything around that,
Mhm.
and just seeing that those people proudly walking down the road, knowing what they know, and for them to even be in that position, you know what I'm saying? For me, it's mind blowing, man. Like I'm just thinking about it right now. I'm trying to visualize it. I'm just like, what were the
Yeah,
people looking at the parade?
and people have I think, because of YouTube, because of the internet,
Hmm.
because of a lot of things that are being voiced as Moorish and
Hmm.
really not. It's making the water murky. So, a lot of people, a lot of times they'll be like, "Oh, that's not what you guys do."
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
no,
yeah,
you'll find you find it outside of the temple because these are rabbit holes that the people have fallen down.
yeah.
You know, they've created these pitfalls for those who figure out who they are historically and nationally,
Mm.
and so they don't want you to really land where you're supposed to
We're
land.
supposed to land. Yeah.
Because in the temple, see, we are not um, separationists among our people.
Hmm.
All Moors, if you're in the temple, you're a Garveyite.
Hmm.
That's part of our doctrine.
Yeah, yeah.
We
I
Garveyite.
got you.
You
Hmm.
get what I mean? But
Yeah.
until you actually figure out what Garvey was teaching, and you have to really study Garvey because Garvey prophesies Noble Drew Ali
Hmm.
in the Moorish Science Temple of America and what Noble Drew Ali did and had put in place. He said, "There's another one coming behind me."
Hmm.
He said, "I'm John the Baptist. I'm the
Mm.
harbinger." He said, "There's going to be a Muhammad that comes with the book of economic freedom for his people." Y'all got to study Marcus Garvey,
Hmm.
and then you got to study the prophet to know what happened in the last 100 years,
Hmm.
or else you have you just have a little piece of the picture. You don't really understand what really happened, and that's no shot at anybody, but because it's key. Because I've, from my own experience, seen the, I want to say the distress, the it's going on to this day. But I've been watching it since the 90s, since at least 98.
Mm-hmm.
People being pimped and
Yeah.
misguided
Yeah.
out of the fold.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they say, Prophet nobledrewali came to put us back into the fold. Right? I don't know if you ever heard that.
Mm-hmm.
But they might say the constitutional fold, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another conversation. But hit that next slide. We're gonna keep going in because I'm about to start getting into Kemet in a second. I think this next slide I think is for my good brother. Um, and this brother's a scholar in the community,
Mm-hmm.
and this is just completing that last slide. So I just wanted to kind of put a punctuation, the exclamation mark at the end of that last sentence, where it
Mm-hmm.
says, nationality has nothing to do with any legal status. Know that. Nationality has nothing to do with being granted rights by anyone. Nationality has nothing to do with asking, demanding anything from anyone.
Mm.
Nationality has everything to do with self-determination, knowing, being ourselves, and living life accordingly.
Accordingly.
This is not up for debate.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the next slide. When you see people talking about naturalization, or skip to the next one, nationalization, when they talking about Moorish things, or even for my Hebrew brothers, pause it right there for me.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, go the other way, because in the Moorish Science Temple we proclaim our nationality, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were born here, just being real, right? So if you're born here, you're an American. But what
Yeah.
happens is we get the label of black at the front,
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
African American. And I don't have no problem with the term African because it's an African term. I don't have no problem with the term black. It's just a word. But to identify myself that would be to identify myself as a misnomer,
Mm-hmm.
right? My shirt is black,
Mm-hmm.
but I can obviously look at myself and I'm say I'm brown. It's quite obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Even the darkest people on the planet, even if their hue looks blue or purple, that it's so dark. When you break it down to the microscope, and the science has been done with the Yaroa people of India, the darkest people on the planet,
Mm-hmm.
they are brown skinned. Now, when those who are adept at photography or film, they understand lighting, and with improper lighting, you can make someone who is very dark skinned look totally black.
Mm-hmm.
But it just is not a fact, right?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like, we talk about cognitive dissonance. It's like you're looking at something, it's not that, but you still call it a thing. It,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what we're doing. And we're labeling ourselves the label that was given to us by the so-called oppressor. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So to do that is, I mean, to me, it would seem to be anti-self.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Non-productive,
And I and
non-progressive.
and I understand, don't get me wrong. I meet people where they're at, so I'm not judging people who have not done the research. And some people are like, I'm cool just calling myself black. That's
Mm-hmm.
cool
Mm-hmm.
because we make lemonade out of lemons.
Yep.
You know, James Brown made it cool. I get it. It's cool. It's in style, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's not our name. And I demonstrated that a little bit earlier. And I could do a whole demonstration and go into all of the etymology of black and show you the term black is German,
Yeah.
and show you that the term Moor is African. And
Mm-hmm.
they're, although the European tries to call them cognates, under the definition of cognate, it's not. Under
Mm-hmm.
the definition, they would be false cognates. You
Mm-hmm.
can just look up the term false cognate and you can see what I mean. So these are two words that seem to mean the same thing, but come from totally different backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
That means they're not cognate. They would have to come from similar backgrounds to actually mean the same thing. That's something like salam, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Amharic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which means peace, and then shalom in Hebrew, which means
Mm-hmm.
peace.
Mm-hmm.
Those are cognates.
Mm-hmm.
Those are words that are similar, sound
Similar.
alike, mean the
Mm-hmm.
same thing, and come from the same place, basically,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, so if you can move forward to the next slide, unless you have any questions, and I didn't mean to. I wanted to say that too. If you have any
No,
questions,
no, no. Like I said before, I need I need the history aspect of all of this, and then you know what I'm saying.
yeah,
And you fine, man.
we about to turn that corner right now. I just wanted to lay
Yeah,
the foundation. I just wanted to lay
yeah.
the foundation. So let me go in right here. So to quote the master teacher, Dr. Clark, everybody agree Dr. Clark is a
Oh
master teacher?
yeah.
That's what I hear all the time, right? So I look, I just want to use the sources that we need. If this is who we respect, then let's see what the brother has to say.
Mm-hmm.
Brother says, you answer to such stupid words as Negro, colored, and black.
Yeah,
Now, this is the master teacher now.
yeah. Real talk.
You have no nationality. Negro, black, and colored are not a nationality.
Mm-mm.
I didn't say it. I just repeated it. I just
Mm-hmm.
quoted the
Mm-hmm.
master teacher. You can go to the next slide, bro.
And it makes perfect sense.
I'm
Let's see.
just,
Mm-hmm.
what did Marcus Garvey say about nationality? Marcus Garvey was quoted as saying the Negro wants a nationality equal to that of the French, the English, the Japanese, the Chinese, and the Irish, etc.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? That means that we have no national descent.
Mm-hmm.
What is our national descent? Moorish.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I'm gonna show and prove why in just a second. You go to the next one. You go to the next one, brother.
Next one. All right.
So boom, we in the scholarship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Scholarship.
Dr. Ben,
Mm-hmm.
is he a master teacher?
Oh yeah, great scholar.
Dr. Ben, right?
Indeed.
So let's just see what Dr. Ben has to say, because I've heard people try to use Dr. Ben and try to say that he wasn't in support of Moorish anything.
Mm-hmm.
Now, those that know that Dr. Ben is a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know why he's a doctor? Did we have that conversation, my brother? What do
Yeah.
you get?
Say it again.
Do you know what he's a doctor of?
No. 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 What is it?
Moorish history. He went to the University of Salamanca,
Oh, okay. Yeah. 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 We did talk about that. You're right. You're right.
right? So I
Yeah. No,
like
we did talk about that.
I just want to I want to make these points very clear for the people. Hopefully
Mm-hmm.
y'all listening, hopefully y'all get this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because this is key. And it says, certainly the African Americans, children's, let me see. What does that say?
It looks like it's hero.
Hero. That there you go. I didn't want to mislabel. I haven't read this in a while. Hero that led, let's see.
It says the African American children's hero that led the
The African ancestors.
something African ancestors,
Their
the
African,
Moors,
the Moors,
into
Iberia,
Iberia
was
was
none
none
other
other than
than
the
the
illustrious
illustrious General Tariq. Now,
Tariq.
now check this out. 1506 CE, and it says with Rev, later on made Bishop Bartolome de las Casas and Pope Julius II of Roman Catholic Church. The latter two initiated the infamous slave trade of Africans called moros from Spain. Africans called Moors from Spain to the island of Hispaniola, today Santo Domingo in Haiti, following the loss of their power over the Iberian Peninsula in 1485.
Hmm.
Dr. Ben says the ancestors of the African Americans are Moors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is just the master. I'm just all I'm doing is just pulling the master teacher's work for a second,
Mm-hmm.
just pulling a coattail. And this is also a slide. You guys can actually find this slide. This was from a debate. The brother that I quoted a minute ago, Sheikh Sharif Anael Bey. This was from a debate that he did a few years back against a brother named Brother Reggie. If you go to the next slide for me.
All right.
Because I have a few other slides I could, because this is just easy to pull up.
Oh yeah.
Again, this is from the same debate. Dr. Chancellor Williams. Where are we at on Dr. Chancellor Williams? Can we get a yay, nay?
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah,
Historian,
most definitely.
right? Okay. So, and you know, just being fully transparent, not my absolute favorite scholar, because later on I found some stuff to be, you know, a little, wavy, if you will. However,
okay,
on this particular topic, I'm with him 100%.
That's all right. Nobody perfect, right?
Right. So Dr. Chancellor Williams, and honest to the brother, I'm not taking anything away from him. I'm just saying, you know, and he may not have known, you know, it happens.
Fair enough.
Sociologist, historian, and writer, key figure in Afrocentric discourse, author of the book, The Destruction of Black Civilization. This is known as the Bible, right, of our Black history.
That's in
this passage on the right, and you guys, if you haven't read the book, go get it. You need a copy in your library. But in there, he's quoted as saying, "We must reclaim the name Moor." I ain't say it. Well, I might have said it, but he said it. I just ran through some real scholarship right quick. People that we all respect.
Exactly.
And because I wanted, again, I laid the foundation. Now I'm putting up some, you know, the frame. I'm putting that frame together right now. And I'm about to put the roof, I'm about to put the walls. We about to go to the next one for me, bro.
All right.
Okay. Dana Reynolds Marnici. Okay. She, in my opinion, and in the opinion of many scholars around the world, she is the world's leading historian regarding our people. And you can take that any way you like. She is an actual archaeologist, historian, professor. She does not officially accept the term anthropologist, and I ain't mad at it. She didn't take the test to get the certification, but that's anthropology is in her field. And let me just say,
she covers it.
She did a lot of research for Ivan Van Sertima. She wrote chapters in his books. She's done research for all of your favorite scholars. Okay, she's the one. She's the modern Drusilla Dunges Houston. Okay, and those of you who are not familiar with her work, please, she has great books, and you can download the PDFs right online if you need to. So she says the Egyptians are probably closely related to the Haritan and Goran. So this is a reply to a question, but I just wanted to put this in here because it makes the whole thing come together. I don't see why we shouldn't include them. I'm not sure if most of them can be considered immediate ancestry except for the Moors. I want to stop there for a second, right? And just let it linger. Because now we're making that connection. We know who the Moors are, right? Now we know that all of the scholars said, hey, we Moors. Y'all need to fight for that. That's one thing they all clear on. Y'all need to fight for that name. That's our name. Okay. And it says, and then Dana Marnici goes on to say the Egyptians, their immediate ancestry is the Moors. The name Moor and Mora was used for black-skinned Africans in Morocco. And she uses black-skinned Africans on purpose. Again, when we talk now, when we're dealing in these scholarly uh, places, anthropology, and that's a whole nother situation. But
Yeah.
anthropology can be very racist,
Oh
right?
yeah.
So
But
you
put in
know
the
that's
wrong hands, yeah, it's a tool, man.
exactly.
A
So
tool of deceit.
that's right. But we know what we're talking about. So we know this is racist terminology, but she cleared it up because she said the name Moro,
Hmm.
and it said was used for black skinned Africans, just like we went through earlier. See, the Europeans, they stopped using our name in the proper context.
Hmm.
It became like derogatory. You
Yeah.
bull.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Uh, so let me not get off topic. Um, So let me see. And in the Portuguese area until the 19th century, since the Africans that I know claim and have claimed for millennia that their traditions draw them from Canaanite, Hebrews, Israelites, Arabs, and the people of Nimrod, Lamarudu,
Hmm.
etc., we could say there is a direct relationship of the Moors or Berbers, Al Bedabir, right? The same barbarian, Al Bedabir, and Tuareg in particular with these people. As I have been saying, the word Berabir, like Abira and Hubir, may very well have some relationship to the word Hebrew. As
Hmm.
for the big hug in person, obviously this guy asked for a hug, but I just wanted to pull all that up because he asked a great question and she pulled in a lot of information. Now, this little paragraph is pregnant with information. I'm not going to try to break all this down or get into the Lamarudu, but I'm going to tell
Hmm.
you that goes getting into Benin, and that gets into Nigeria,
Mm.
dealing with the Yoruba and
Yeah,
the
but
Ifa,
Ifa.
because these people claim to be from Lamarudu, which is from the people of Nimrod coming out of Canaan. This is the connection that you have between voodoo and Christianity that
Mm.
Christians don't want to deal with.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother conversation.
I see the connection already.
Oh, oh boy, it's serious, but
Yeah.
I don't, what I'm saying, I don't like necessarily, just pulling the cover back on people. Now in this situation, we're having this conversation, and we're gonna bring some light. But yeah, I wouldn't necessarily just hit Christians over the head with this type of information if they weren't really ready for it, because
Yeah.
they would probably lose their religion if they really found out where it came from.
Yeah, they'd have to have a very solid foundation on the origins of Christianity itself to even begin, the real Christianity, I should say.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Um,
sure you can probably go on YouTube and look up a video. I'm sure they have a split screen with Pentecostals on one side and a voodoo ceremony on
oh
one
yeah,
side, and it's you wouldn't even be able to know which one is
the
which.
difference. Exactly right.
So especially if
I've
it's
seen it.
but you know what I'm talking about.
I've seen it. I lived it. You know what I'm saying? So
Okay,
I
so
already know on
look,
both ends.
there you go. So thank you, brother, for verifying for me. But you can go to the next one, and I'll continue on. All right, so I don't. You could skip past these two slides,
All right.
because we had already kind of established this. What those two slides were talking about is the fact that go back to one slide just for
Go
one
back
second,
one.
just so I can explain what they were, what they're for. I just don't want to go too far, and I want to leave some room for questions as well. So these two slides, again, this is from that debate with Sharif and Brother Reggie, and it goes on to show how the Atlantic slave trade was initiated and the fact that the Moors were specifically targeted for slavery, and that
Mm.
the Pope tells the people. So you can actually, if you want to put the last slide up, just so people can have a chance to maybe screenshot it and be able to read it for a second, just leave it there. I don't know if that bottom strip covers it up, but just so they can have an option just to look at it for a minute, screenshot it, have the information in their records, and then they can go and check it out for themselves. Um, but I'll read the bottom just to kind of give you guys So I'm going to read this one just to give you guys the reference. So the truth about the transatlantic slave trade. And again, this is from the debate with Brother Reggie and Sharif El Bey a few years back. Pope Eugene the Fourth from 1383, 1447. Born Gabriel Condulmer in Venice, issued Ilias Qui in 1442, the papal bull that licensed the Portuguese raids of the West African coast as a continuance of the Crusades and granted full remission of sins to those that took part in any expeditions against the Moors/Saracens. This papal bull developed the mindset that perceived enslavement of Africans by the Portuguese and later Europeans as a continuation of the Crusades on behalf of Christendom. Captains Golkavis and Tristão netted more than a dozen Muslims and enslaved them. Elated, Henry wrote to Pope Eugene IV, who gave a decree that capturing the Moors as slaves was part of the crusade, and whoever sailed south in this pursuit will receive ablution of his sins. 1442. This was the origin of the slave trade, which began with Portuguese piracy on the Moroccan coast in 1441. The process was systematized in 1444 when the Portuguese Lagos Company was chartered under the patronage of Prince Henry, Professor Nazir Ahmed, PhD, The Atlantic Slave Trade. You go to
Mm.
2 slides up.
That I did not know. That's heavy, man.
Yeah, I mean, this one just kind of continues that whole thing. This is a whole nother pope. It basically says the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You guys can read it later. I don't want to, belabor the point, but it is important. So make sure, those.
See, now I'm starting to think that makes sense.
Mhm.
That makes sense because I remember reading Mama Zagbe's book, and she was talking about how in certain areas descendants of the Moors were treated differently because of that in Europe, that is, because they knew who they were pretty much, and they knew their lineage and ultimately everything that came along with them, the metaphysical aspects, etc. So they had to be pretty much watched nonstop living in an area when they took that area over.
That's right. So I'll just read this one little piece just to bring it all together. You,
Mhm.
you look at that last little dot there. It says,
Oh, wait a minute, let me go back.
no, it's all good. It says, also issued the bull Romanus Pontifex in
Mhm.
1455. And this is about Pope Nicholas V,
Mhm.
extending to the Christian nations of Europe dominion over discovered Moorish territories during the Age of Discovery, also encouraging enslaving of native and non-Christian peoples in Africa and the New World, all done as a continued persecution of the crusade against the Moors.
Mm. So it started. Oh my God, that's
Yeah, they
so they
started
knew who they were. So they started enslaving them back then to pretty
because
much already start to like hide
yeah, bro.
who they were and their lineage and everything that was a part of.
They said, take the lands, enslave the people, you will be absolved of all sins. So they were basically trying to conquer Africa. This is colonialism in
Mm-hmm.
its inception.
Mm.
Okay.
And it's still a trip to me. It only happened in the 1400s.
Oh, it kept going.
Yeah. I mean, well, it started, but go ahead.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, it started actually before that because notice this is the continuation,
This
right?
continuation.
This is the continuation
Mm.
because they were doing the Reconquista. This is the reconquest
Mm.
of
I got you.
of
I
Europe.
got you. I
And,
got you.
mind you, we have to be cognizant of why this is going on, right? We're ruling these people in Europe,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
with an iron fist, bro.
Mhm.
You get what I'm saying? In many instances, that is not the full story, but in some instances, that is the story.
Mhm.
While that's going, now notice what they said about Portuguese and how they were raiding West Africa and raiding Morocco, right? Now, this is what was going on in Europe by us for the 2,000 years prior.
Yeah.
We had been going into Europe, taking women, coming on back, harem, etc. You know the story.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, just to give it some clarity and a little bit of balance, because a lot of times, when we talk about slavery, we don't necessarily talk about what was the reasoning, what was some of the reason.
Yeah, some of the reason.
They were under a little bit of oppression in some ways. Now, that isn't always, you get multiple stories
Mhm.
because it's also taught that the Moors uh, were very lenient, if you will, and
Mhm.
um, you could say there was no religious persecution under Moorish rule.
Mhm.
So you have to see. It was probably at this point a little more jealousy than anything, and wanting to
Mhm.
have.
Typical.
You get what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, you can go to the next slide for me.
All right.
'Cause it's about to get. I'm gonna skip past this. This just shows that in Morocco, this is one of the old world sites. They found modern Homo sapiens that have bones well
What
over.
is that? What's all that on the top on the banner? Or
Um,
now, are we looking at the top banner or the cave underneath?
okay, so yeah, if you read all the information here,
Mhm.
it's just saying that they found remains
Okay,
and
gotcha, gotcha.
other things in Morocco that are hundreds of thousands of years old.
Okay, I'm with
So
you. I'm
as
with you.
as old as modern people are, you can find remnants of them in Morocco, as well
Okay,
as South Africa, as well as Sudan and Somalia.
all right.
So it's interesting, you get these different artifacts in these places at these times. And all the digging hasn't been done, so that you know we don't have all the answers. I can only tell you what is available at the moment.
Yeah, yeah, I got you. I got you. No, I was wondering what that picture was on top. That looks quite interesting. That's you know what I'm saying. I'm like,
Oh
what in
yeah,
the world is that thing?
this is in Morocco. This is an ancient ruin in Morocco.
Oh wow,
But it says
I've never seen that
discovery.
before.
Yeah, this says discovery of the oldest traces of civilization in the Assyrian prehistoric site of Ifri do Amar. And remember, Ifri is one of those ancient terminologies that it is proposed that the term Africa stems from.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Ifriqiya, right?
that's right. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's see. Go forward.
Yeah, you can go for it. This is a lot of information there. I don't want to get off too track, but I wanted to just say that about it, that it's dealing with the antiquity of these Moors.
Gotcha.
And then if we look at this, we can also see this was from a research that I did. Um, I found, let me say this, I didn't do this research. I was doing some research and found this research. And what it showed me is that this is all people who contain what you would consider Moorish DNA.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't the entire list. This was just
Mm-hmm.
part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But this is also the DNA that is dominant in so-called African Americans today. But
Mm.
you can see Libyan Tuareg, uh, Algerians, Arabs from Chad, Arabs from Shuwa. You can just keep on going. Egypt, uh, the El Alu Berbers, the El Andalus Berbers, the Fulani, the
Mm.
Mutunata, the Mubuti, the Imbuizele, the Moroccan Berbers, etc. You can just in Nubia, uh, just the Sudan, Tunisia. You can see that this DNA marker, it just runs rampant
Mm-hmm.
throughout the continent,
Mm.
and it's connected to, you can see various tribes that are considered Berber people or Moors also. So just I just wanted to make these connections. I don't want to spend too much time on this because we still got more to do. But just move forward for me, please, my brother.
All right.
Now let me know how I'm looking on time. Okay, so now we're starting to get a little bit into the antiquity. So now at this point we're at about, and I'm not going to read all of this either, but we're at about 2,000 years.
Okay.
Okay, or 3,000, something like that. So we talking about, this is Light and Truth by Robert Benjamin Lewis. he's doing some references in the Bible and telling you who is who. So he's a historian, a brother from the 17th century. This book is, I forget the exact date, but it's 1780 something, I believe. And it says Micah, the Moorishite, a prophet of the Moors. And you can kind of reference all of this stuff in your Bibles, in your
Mm-hmm.
Torahs, etc. Prophesied in the days of Hezekiah, king of Judah, and spoke to all the people of Judah, the Moors. Now this is in the 1700s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Saying, thus saith the Lord of hosts, Zion shall be plowed like a field, and Jerusalem shall become heaps of forest. Micah showeth the wrath of God against Jacob for idolatry, etc. And it goes on to say, Masarath was built by the Moors in the desert of Paran, in the land of Amalek, and was the ancient encampment of Israel in the days of Moses. In the Moorish War of Adel in Africa, some of the books of Moses were burnt.
Mm.
I can keep on going, but you know, I don't want to spend too much time on this. You can go to the next slide.
All right.
I just wanted to give some antiquity on that. So again, some more antiquity. This is from Harmsworth History of the World. This is the first volume. And I just wanted to keynote a few things on here where it says Amorites, a branch of the ancient Libyan race of Semitic origin, inhabiting Canaan before the arrival of the Israelites from Egypt.
Mm.
Okay, that's key.
Mm-hmm.
Canaanites, one of the main branches of the great Semitic family inhabiting Palestine, the Mauritanian sea coast. Now check that. So one of the main branches of the great Semitic family. Now remember what Dana Marnici said, and if you study the Circle Seven, this will also make sense. If not, those are some references for you to go back and do some homework. Inhabiting Palestine. Now we know where Palestine is, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's like Jordan. That's over by
Mm-hmm.
Israel,
Israel, yeah.
and the Mauritanian sea coast. Mauritanian is far West Africa,
Mm-hmm.
next to
On the other
Morocco.
side.
You feel me?
Yeah.
In ancient times, including Jews, Phoenicians, Carthaginians, Moabites, Amorites, Udamirians, the Philistines, a fierce and warlike people with a remarkable genius for religion, which has greatly influenced the modern world. Ethiopians, an ancient Berber tribe, settled in Egypt at least 5,000 years ago. So this is where it starts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we already talked about Berber and Moor being synonymous.
Mm-hmm.
Who are the Ethiopians? We know the Ethiopians, to be one of the most ancient people, right?
Yep.
So Ethiopians, an ancient Berber tribe, settled in Egypt at least 5,000 years ago, now represented by the fair Berbers of Mauritania. Woo. Ain't these the same people?
Mm-hmm.
Homer called them blameless. I won't get into that. That's a whole nother conversation. You can slip to the next slide for me.
All right.
Okay, so this is key. The Maghreb, which we discussed earlier, right? Or Western North Africa, is believed to have been inhabited by Berbers at least since 10,000 BCE. Now we're talking antiquity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what portion of the Maghreb did they inhabit? You know that the Maghreb encompasses Egypt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So who
Mm.
occupied all of Northwest and East Africa for 10,000 years
It's all the
BC
Moors.
before any, like, come on, like, hit the next slide for me. I feel like some of this stuff I would like to go more in depth with, but I won't even touch it right now. We
Mm-hmm.
can read the name of Moab or Moab, right? So those who don't know, Moabites are also another synonym for Moors.
Mm-hmm.
Moroccan is the modern term for Moabite.
Mm-hmm.
So we can read the name of Moab, and Moab in ancient times was the next door neighbor to Egypt, if you will, brother and sister.
Mm.
Okay, and we could go deep on it, but again, we just trying to lay some groundwork, and I want to make sure everybody gets some information that they need. Moab or Moab, on the base of the second of the 6 colossal statues which Ramses II erected in front. Oh, go back for me. My bad. Ramses II erected in front of the northern pylon at the Temple of Luxor. It is here included among his conquests. The statue is the only Egyptian monument on which the name has hitherto been found, but this single mention is sufficient to guarantee its antiquity and to prove that in the days before the Exodus, it was already well known in Egypt, meaning the name Moab.
Mm-hmm.
Patriarchal Palestine, page 22, by Professor Archibald Henry Sayce, 1895, Assyriologist and linguist who held a chair as professor of Assyriology at the University of Oxford from 1891 to 1919.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the next one. So again, we're just establishing the ancient, just the antiquity of the Moors, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because some people be like, "Oh, Moor, that's new." Y'all from I heard people try to say, "Oh, that started in the 700s." So we're pretty far back. I don't know if what that last one said. What was the year on that last one? Go back
Let me
for
go
me,
back.
because I know we're at 10,000 BC. What year is this reference? So we'd have to reference Ramses II. I don't know off the top of my head. So
Yeah, I don't know the time frame. Yeah,
but we're talking probably 4,000 years,
at least.
and it said pre-Exodus, so we have to be talking about 4,000 years, roughly.
Mm-hmm.
All right, go for it for me. All right, so this is a special map, the Pleripus. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but if you look here, you'll see where it says Petra. So that where Petra is, right? Where they have those buildings built into the cliffs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So those were the Amorites. This was ancient Moab also.
I see the Nabateans too.
Nabateans, these are ancient Moors, exactly.
Moreau.
Thank you. Yep. So when you really go in and then you start to see Berbers, how old do you think this map is? You see it says Berbers up and down the Nile Valley, right?
Yeah.
All the way at the bottom, halfway up.
All the way up, yeah.
And then you look over here, Masilum.
Moslem, yeah, I'm looking at that. Safar.
This map,
Sabites.
this is a European map from almost 2,000 years ago. This map is 1,900 years old. This map, the term Berbers on this map predates the European etymological breakdown of Berber. If you were to go look it up,
yeah,
I didn't even want to spend any time on it because we already established what a Berber is and who Berbers are and were, right? But I just wanted to make these things clear and put a few things in your mind so that you can be like, dang, okay, what does this mean? And you see where we're at on the map.
This is crazy, man. This is because they know all this stuff.
You think
they know all of this stuff, and we don't have a clue.
I'm just putting the pieces back together, bro.
Yeah.
That's it. And I'm glad you can see the picture that's being painted.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of pieces, and I couldn't put it all in here. There's not enough time in one day to. I have so many thousands and thousands of slides. This is just what I could pull together for the day. Go to the next one for me, brother. All right, we in the metal netter. All right. So we got Mer, Mary, beloved one, a title of several gods, and then again a title of several gods. Right. So when we say amore, right, beloved, right, in all of the different love languages, the different Latin languages.
More.
Beloved.
Love, yeah.
Okay. Go to the next one.
Oh, This is I like this.
Check this out. Mera. You ever seen that?
Mm-hmm.
Read that for me, brother, please.
An ancient name of Egypt, the land of Meter. Pa'ata Mare. Oh, Pa the Tamare, land of Ra.
There you go. See, but and so that can be so like let's look at it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I put my other one. Go to the next one for me,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm gonna clear it up. There
Yeah,
you
that's it.
go.
Yeah, Tamare. Yeah, yeah.
Now open that up. Read that. Read that for me.
People of the land of the Nile flood the Egyptians.
Tamara.
Marero. Tamarero.
Tamara.
Tamareo.
Would be Tamara.
Tamara. Okay,
Uh-huh.
Tamara.
The
Yeah.
AU means the plurality of the
Okay, that's
people.
right. The U is the dual. Yeah, yeah, I got you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And of course the med
Tamare. Yeah,
and
Tamare.
the people are the med. The
Yeah.
tie is the land.
And the U are the people, correct?
That's in plural. Yes,
Yeah, the people. Yeah.
that makes it plural.
Yeah.
But you see what the people are called? What are the people
Yeah.
called without the plurality, without the land?
Maru. Mare.
Man,
More.
however you it's more. However you want to
Yeah,
put it.
more.
Meta, Mary, Tamari, Tamarau. You get what I'm saying here?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, no. I see that.
Look, this is before see, this is before the hieratic was introduced.
Mm-hmm.
When the hieratic was introduced,
That was later.
that's when the land became called Kemet.
Yeah. The
That's
language. That's
that's
language. Yeah,
when it
because
became
all this predates the metadata.
not that the term Kemet didn't exist in the lexicon, because
It wouldn't.
it's all through it.
Yeah.
For black things. It's
Exactly.
describing black things. If you go
Yeah.
through
Yeah.
the old Egyptian dictionary from Wallace Budge, you
Mm-hmm.
and you look up Kemet and
Mm-hmm.
Kemet and all of the variations of that, it's going to
Mm-hmm.
show you everything that's black in Egypt.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what it does. It doesn't reference the people. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah. I
Even
got you.
in ancient Egypt, it don't reference the people. It's Kemet.
Yeah.
And so
I see what you're saying.
we just got to be careful about how we do stuff. And when we do our scholarship, let's be thorough,
Mm-hmm.
because
Actual fact.
and I think, I think Kemet is a good step in the right direction,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's going back 2,500 years instead of just 2,000,
Yeah.
right? Because Egypt, that's more that's more recent, and then you
Yeah.
got Kemet. But if we take it back a little bit further
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
into
Yeah.
the
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
antiquity of
Well, the key
time,
was the key was just saying as far as because a lot of people don't understand the different scripts and the time frame and how they correlate with each other.
yeah, the
Yeah.
Demotic and
Yeah, the
Hieratic.
demotic, heretic, the metanetter, the hieroglyphic, etc. So
Yep.
yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Go to the next slide for me, bro. I don't want to spend too long on them because here.
Oh, there it goes again.
Some more. Amen.
Amen.
Go to the next one, brother. More. Title of the
High
high
priest
priest.
of Anu. Okay, so even you saying more is that connecting with Sumerian Anu or Anu that came in Kemet or Egypt?
Anu is connected. So whenever you see, have you ever heard of Osiris Ani?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
Ah, I got you. I got you.
that's
It's
the
just a different.
connection.
It's just I got you.
That's the Anu principle,
Mm-hmm.
uh, basically coming together with the Osiris principle or the
Is
Osar
that
principle.
is that
So this
still?
it's like a merging of.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, it's just a merging of the God principles,
Okay,
and
I
so it
got
was
you.
worship. That's why you can see Asar worshipped as Asar, but Asar
Mm-hmm.
can be worshipped as Asar Ani. And that's
Got you.
Anu and Asar together. And then there's all, and many of the other deities also have a connection with Anu, and they become Ani as well. So
Okay.
that and people you gotta be versed into the old religion to
Yeah.
see what
Exactly.
was actually going on.
Mm-hmm.
And to not to belabor this and get off topic, but this is real key, because the high priest of Anu, right? There's an ancient stela, and I could do a whole nother presentation on that. You ever heard where they try to say the pyramids were built by aliens?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, it's based on many theories, right? But The evidence that they try to use for that is based on one of the high priests of Anu.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I think his name is Tanetter, if I'm
Okay.
if I'm not mistaken. And so there was a stela found at the temple of Seti one. Right, so you can. I'm giving this information out so y'all can look this up if you like. You can pull up the stela, right? And you'll see a
Mm-hmm.
brother with a beard. He got a staff and he got his little
I know
apron.
exactly what you're talking about. Yep.
You know what I'm talking about?
I seen it.
And then they got the drawing that the French archaeologists drew of that stele when they
Mm-hmm.
found it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at the picture, it looks like a gray alien
Mm-hmm.
versus what the actual carving and the drawing,
Look
the
like.
original, looks like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? And one looks like a brother with he got a fresh, he got his stuff
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
And then the other one, he looked like a big head alien. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
like this the artist y'all bringing? Like
Yeah. I
what?
know.
But that's besides the point. But I just
Yeah.
wanted to make that point because this is key to that and debunking that lie. Also,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you can move forward, brother.
Right.
Okay, so now we're going to deal with, just breaking down some foundation, get into the prophet just a little bit so we can tie it all together. And
Mm-hmm.
here it says, all true Moors will and must obey the laws as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. And
Mm.
that's a message I wanted to send to all of these fake Moors, all of
Mm-hmm.
these people out here misleading the people, saying that you don't need to be in the temple, that the prophet didn't know enough and we got some new information. Y'all ain't even activated what has been given to you.
Yeah.
So I ain't even gonna go any further into that. I just wanted to make that statement because the rest of it's gonna make it clear.
All right.
More for me, brother. So here's one. What is Islam, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of ways that can be taken. The Islam that we practice, this is a demonstration given by Prophet nobledrewali. Islam is a very simple faith. It requires man to recognize his duties toward God Allah, his creator, and his fellow creatures. It teaches the supreme duty of living at peace with one's surroundings. It is preeminently the religion of peace. The very name Islam means peace. The goal of man's life, according to Islam, is peace with everything, peace with Allah, and peace with man.
Mm-hmm.
The Quran, the holy book of Islam, tells us that the final abode of man is the house of peace, where no vain word or sinful discourse will be heard. The holy divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali, says that a follower of Islam, in the true sense of the word, is one whose hands, tongue, and thoughts do not hurt others. Let that hang in there for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Object of man's life, according to Islam, is the complete unfoldment. Islam teaches that man is born with unlimited capacities for progress. Islam does not support the idea that man was born in sin. It teaches that everyone has within him the seed of perfect development, and it rests solely within himself to make or mar his fortune. The cardinal doctrine of Islam is the unity of the Father Allah. We believe in one God, Allah, who is all God, all mercy, and all power. He is perfect and holy, all wisdom, all knowledge, and all truth. There are some of his great attributes so far as we can understand. He is free from all defects, holy and transcendent. He is personal to us insofar as we see his attributes working for us and in us, but he is nevertheless impersonal because he is infinite, perfect, and holy. We do not believe that death, decay, or sleep overtake him. Neither do we believe that he is helplessly inactive, an inert force. Nothing happens without his knowledge and will. He neither begins nor is he begotten. because these are the traits of frail and weak humanity. This
Hmm.
unity of the law is the first and foremost pillar of Islam, and every other belief hangs upon it. You can go to the next slide. So I wanted to say that because I wanted to again lay that foundation. So I gave that caveat, those who lose their faith in the prophet, you shouldn't be out here with your fez on. You shouldn't be
Yeah.
out here with the
Should be.
turban demonstrating all faulty and putting,
Mm.
you know what I'm saying, and demonstrating in a way that makes Moors look bad. This is who we are. We believe in fostering the divine energy of our forefathers. We are trying to live up to what our forefathers have already done. Like, so to come in the name of that,
Mm-hmm.
that's like a sheep, what they call a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah. What was she? Yeah.
Like, come on. Like,
Desecrating the original pure and pristine idea, and everything a part of it, or that was originally made.
facts. And I just
Completely
wanted to
desecrating it.
I wanted to put that in there because I know we were talking about politics and we are talking about history and we talking
Mm-hmm.
about all of those things, but we also got to get back to the fabric of just the fundamentals. And so, that next slide that you just pulled up,
Mm-hmm.
this is also important because we talked about political slavery, but
Mm-hmm.
the most important thing to Prophet Nubal was getting rid of the economic slavery.
Economic slavery. Yeah.
So let me just read. I'm gonna read a couple slides on this just so we can have some clarity on this and what this man had put together again in the 20s and before. So it says, this is from the Moorish Guide, the Moorish newspaper. We of the Moorish Science Temple of America, like countless other American citizens, know that we must live together here in America in harmony, friendship, and goodwill. Whatever our race or creed may be, it is only from a. You said, hold on, my brother.
No, no, no. Go ahead. No,
Okay. Okay.
I'm listening.
It is only from a purely religious standpoint, it seems at this time, that we differ from a large number of fellow Americans. We believe in and foster the Moslem religion. We believe in the principles, its teachings, insofar as they can be adopted to American life. We feel that the Christian religion is all right for those who prefer it. In America, religious freedom is guaranteed all under the Constitution. We are interested in freeing ourselves and our children from our greatest plight, economic slavery.
Mm-hmm.
We believe this can be best done by encouraging, patronizing, and establishing our own business enterprises and
Hmm.
cultivating our own acres of land.
Hmm.
We welcome into our fold men and women of our group of all sections, all trades, occupations, and professions of sound mind and good character. We are friends and servants of humanity. We are dedicated to the purpose of elevating the moral, social, and economic status of our people. We have set about to do this through a wide and comprehensive program embodying the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice.
You, you,
I wanted to put that just as a period.
I gotta say this, bro.
Mhm.
Just from knowing what I've known and being a part of, all the information, all the master teachers that I've seen, that the successful ones, you know what I'm saying.
Excuse me.
It seems like the prophet was the one that set up that's laid a foundation for the honorable Elijah Muhammad, the
Oh, for
Dr.
sure.
Yorks, you
All day.
know, all this, because it's when I'm looking at this here, it's like all this stuff is here back in the daggone 1920s,
Yeah.
and he
This is
was
this,
doing. He had his
bro.
doctrine, language came with nationality, the land, economics. Yo, it was like,
I don't know if you read that part about the parade, See, I wasn't gonna touch on it, but it said, did you see where it said it where the parade started? Basically, at a piece of land that the Moors had acquired
They purchased
to
it. Yeah.
build a
Mhm.
temple.
Mhm.
Now, when all that Fugazi stuff went down,
Mhm.
when he transitioned,
Mhm.
that land, poof, okay.
It went away.
The Moors never got that.
Yeah.
There was somebody that got it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just like what happened with Egypt of the West down here in Georgia with Doc and them. That land went away. You know what I'm saying? He got hemmed up and it was gone.
Yeah, look, similar situation but different
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Similar but
because
different. Yeah.
in this situation they actually tortured the man, crucified him on the corner of Wabash on a
I
block
was
of ice.
I remember last time you talked, you told me that story, man. Is there like a backstory to all of that, or is it just
Yeah, man, that's a deep one. Yeah, I'd have to do that on another one, man, because
okay? That's cool, cool. Because it's when he
that
got set up. I mean,
yeah,
could
that
you do a
information, um, that thing pulls a lot of scabs off
gotcha?
when you have that conversation because there's people out here that's still living off of that.
I got you. I'm with
You
you.
know what I'm saying? I
Hmm.
don't mind pulling them off, but we'll pull it off on a different night to
Different, yeah,
where,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
if I pull the scab off, I'm gonna pull it all off.
All the way.
You
Yep.
know what I'm saying?
The only way to do it, man.
That's the only way. I don't just want to snatch the band-aid right now.
Nah, man. Nah,
I'm gonna
man.
take it. If I'm gonna pull that thing, I'm gonna peel it with some pliers.
Yeah, man. And Dad gonna let it heal right.
You're gonna put some aloe on that thing. Go to the next slide for me, bro.
Wow. All right.
All right. So, in connection with our religious aims and beliefs, we must promote economic security.
Mm,
The preaching of economic security among us is by no means as widespread and intensive as the circumstance demands. No other one thing is more needed among us at this time than greater economic power, better positions for our men and women, more business employment for our boys and girls, and
mm.
bigger income will follow our economic security.
Wow.
We shall be secure in nothing until we have economic power. A beggar people cannot develop the highest in them, nor can they attain to a genuine enjoyment of the spiritualities of life. Our men, women, and children should be taught to believe in the capacity of our group to succeed in business, in spite of trials and failures of some of them. Trials and failures in business are by no means connected to any particular group of people.
Mhm.
Some business ventures of all people fail.
Mhm.
We have many men and women among our people who are qualified, both by training and experience, who are shining lights in the business world of all the
All people. All the people.
Prophet nobledrewali in a section of an article in the Moorish literature known as Moorish Leaders' Historical Message to America. You can go to the next slide. So again, I just wanted to double back on the economic piece
Mhm.
because I think it's extremely important.
Oh yeah.
By by the prophet standard, that is the most
That's
important,
the most important thing. Yeah.
right?
And dealing with things today overall, the vast majority of melanated people that they're just starting to get into this, even remotely coming close to that mindset.
That's right.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Just now today, but this was happened back in the daggone 20s.
And look, so when I found Claude Anderson in about 2010,
Mm-hmm.
I went and tracked that man down. I brought him back to the community, and people don't know
Mm-hmm.
this.
Mm,
But if you were to get him on the phone right now,
mm-hmm.
Claude Anderson will be able to tell you, and he knows me as Gabriel,
Mm-hmm.
right? But Claude Anderson, at first he denied me. He was like, brother, I like you. I'm gonna talk to you. He said, but I ain't doing no interviews because at the time I was on the phone pretty much every day with my brother Red Pill and Blue Pill.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was doing shows with them. I would occasionally come on as a guest. Sometimes they asked me to co-host. Um, And I called them one day. I said, man, you heard about this guy, Claude Anderson? They're like, no. I said, bro, you got to go. And after they go do their research, they hit me back. Hey,
Yeah.
can you get the brother on the show?
Yeah. Bring him
Man,
on.
it took me a little bit of begging.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't gonna front. I had to be like,
I can
please.
imagine.
I was like, please come on. I was like, all the young people ready. I said,
Mhm.
we ready. I
Yeah.
said, I don't know what happened and why. I said, but whatever happened, I said, I ain't found out about you until now.
Yeah.
So I'm ready to go. I said, you talk to me, he was talking Prophet nobledrewali talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw him in real time. I was like, oh, that's what we do. That's our mission. I said,
Yeah.
so let's rock. But let me not get off
Yeah.
topic. But yeah,
Yeah, I actually, just to kind of piggyback, I actually do talk about him specifically in my new book.
yeah, and if you go back, man, just for the record, if you go back, it's probably still available on Blog Talk Radio. You'll find Claude Anderson's first interview back in the community with Red and Blue Pill. I don't know exactly what year, somewhere between 2010 and 2012. It's a while ago. But so what I'm gonna read here is some more words of the prophet because I really want to generate some clarity as to what the prophet stood for and what the Moorish Science Temple of America stands for, and what it doesn't stand for at the same time. Okay, so that date at the top, you gotta excuse me. This is from a website that I developed, and I posted it on that date. So this date
Gotcha.
is like 28, 27, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
Says, I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the street. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your cards is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles rather, are violated, justice must take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet, or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive the reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in the prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban or fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet nobledrewali. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Peace, nobledrewali. So again, I just wanted to elucidate some things because a lot of times, especially in recent times, you hear certain Moors that are on YouTube or different uh, platforms, and they talking reckless. Clubhouse, Facebook, reckless.
Yeah, that's confusing, man.
It's reckless. Flashing the cards. You see, a lot of our young brothers and sisters getting duped into these scams where they go and buy these fake nationality cards and buy these fake what do you call them? Driver's licenses, fake passports, fake. And what do? They flash them at the European. What happened? They bust their window open, pull them out.
Yeah, pull them out. Throw them, put them underneath a rock.
We don't do that. We don't do that. If y'all watching this now and you're interested in more science, you realize you've been watching, I ain't gonna say no names, on YouTube, stop watching that garbage. Find you a temple, find you a knowledgeable sheik in your area. If you cannot find one, contact me. Find me. You can get with Brother Zoe. He can get you to me. I'll find out where you're at and I can help you. If you don't have a temple where you're at, I can help you start a study group. We can help you start a temple right where you're at. But with that, we can slide to the next slide. All right. So that the same one? Did I go back? Maybe I put that slide twice by accident. Oh, it went back. Okay. Go forward one more. Okay, caveat emptor. Again, this is some words from the prophet. Moors are men upright, independent, and fearless, who care for their loved ones and follow the prophet to a destiny which is not uncertain nor unknown. They are fortified by the impregnable doctrine built upon love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. It is therefore folly at its greatest height for smelly culprits with their insidious plans to invade such realm. They try and try, but their own bad planning brings down wrath upon their heads, like the sword of old Damocles had. Intrigue and scurrilous cunnings find a difficult path to travel within the ranks of the Moors. This is so because the Moorish movement has been well planned by Prophet nobledrewali, whose latent powers are abundant, unknown, and may be called into action as a matter of defense at any moment. Prophet nobledrewali knows the people within his ranks who are interested. They are the vanguard of the movement. As the Moorish hordes increase here in America, all of the Moors are active, not passive. A member's interest can only be in one direction, and having traveled over the road years before, the prophet knows where every member is along the road. A few feet below is another road where schemers work, where traitors grin, and
Mm,
culprits bask in the sun.
mm,
They think they are on the same road with true Moors, but the
mm,
Moors are high above on a pinnacle where they might view the destructionists as they fall for the last time and their bones bleach in the sultry midday sun. Hungry scavengers flying high catch scent, devour and leave, crying out, caveat emptor, cast out the dead carcass. The Moors high above see these plotters, purveyors, the worst that exists, hurl themselves downward by their own works as the hawks wait.
mm.
Again, this is straight from the prophet. Talk. He already knew.
Yeah, he saw it.
He already knew what was
Mm-hmm.
going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Knew they were scheming. They were scheming back then. They still scheming today.
Yeah, he knew. Yeah, he knew the personality amongst his people. You know what
That's
I'm
right.
saying?
That's right. Um,
Good, bad, and ugly.
I don't think we have too many more slides, but let's see what we got left, and then we can get into some questions. And all right. So this is just another quote from the prophet. It says, I, the prophet, was prepared by the great God Allah to warn my people to repent from their sinful ways and go back to the state of the mind of their forefathers, divine national principles, that they will be law abiders and receive their divine right as citizens, according to the free national constitution that was prepared for all free national beings. They are to claim their own free national name and religion. And the reason why I brought that out is because you hear a lot of brothers all say, "Oh, we ain't citizens." Or you hear all different kind of ways that's juggled around. But I'll leave it at that for the moment, unless you got questions on it. But skip to the next one. I just want to see if we have any more slides left. I think we're about done. Oh man, you can skip past that one. I won't even touch on that. I was gonna go on into some maps and stuff, but I'll leave it alone.
Yeah, I think that's the last one.
Yeah. I won't even touch the maps.
Yeah.
But if you got some questions, my brother, please ask. And
Yeah.
I don't want to keep you up too late because I know
No,
we.
you good, man. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? But I'm for me more so. You just connected a lot of dots in a lot of ways. Because when I was in the '90s,
Mhm.
early 2000s, when I was down, here dealing with the Wappins, everything, and I
Yeah,
remember we used to rock fezzes. I started first learning about the Moors. You know what I mean?
that's right.
And and that was my first introduction to it. And I always, you remember, Doc always had a high reverence and talk highly of the Noble Drew Ali, but because of my, I guess because of my age and the time I was on, I never did that actual in depth research. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Hmm.
Until you and I sat down, and even Tom Rain, you know,
Sorry.
when you started breaking down a lot of this stuff, and I just really started. Even now, I just see how it's all connected. And for me, it's interesting because I just see because I listened to I was watching Sister Myra Moss was on
Excuse
Black
me
Magic.
for my response, but yeah.
Oh yeah, I was watching was watching um I was watching let me go back to here real quick. All right, here we go. We
Smelly
back.
culprits.
Yeah. I was listening to her, and she was talking about how she was saying that all this stuff that all our master teachers ever
Mm,
given us
yeah,
is all coming to this apex now. She
yeah,
was talking about Bobby Hemmett. She was talking about Phil Valentine, and she was, what I'm saying, and I see, because even though a lot of my focus when I was younger was on, Dr. York, because that was one of my master teachers that woke me up. But like now, if I listen to a Bobby Hemmett video, I feel as though that stuff is it's happening today.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like, and even the stuff, all these master teachers back in the 90s, but just going back, you got the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, you got Marcus Garvey. So we always had that connection
yeah,
from source that was always guiding that seed that was awake. Because I look back at the picture that the thumbnail I put you on. I think it was a picture in front of the Moorish Science Temple, and I'm saying these small amount of that's it, yeah. I'm saying to myself, what's the mindset in the 1920s of these people to come together to know that? You know what I'm saying? As opposed to the rest of the people getting slaughtered and tortured and and all drinking the Jesus juice or whatever juice they were drinking. You know,
yeah.
we've always had these great teachers, what I'm saying, from our great fall on that's been guiding us up until today and now.
You're right.
And that's one of the main reasons why I thought it was important that people start really knowing the history that they know of not only nobledrewali but the Moors and who they were. I think it's a very important topic um, that people don't really talk about as much as they should be.
Yeah. You know, Noble Drew Ali and Marcus Garvey didn't get a chance to meet until 1927
Mm,
when Marcus Garvey was actually in prison here in Atlanta.
mm,
He actually traveled from Chicago to come visit Garvey because there's records of Garvey being asked about Noble Drew Ali before that because Noble Drew Ali was already bigging up Garvey. He was, from jump, he was like, we we rock with Garvey, right?
yeah.
So when people ask him about him, you'll see a quote. There's a quote that says, I don't know who that is."
Mm,
Right? This is like early 20s when he was actually locked up. We have an artifact within the temple. I have a copy of the artifact, obviously, and um, it was a postcard that was bought by Noble Drew Ali at the Atlanta Federal Penitentiary when he visited Marcus Garvey, and he wrote his wife explaining the trip and his interaction with Garvey,
mm-hmm,
and Garvey was pleased with the Moors and what they were doing.
mm-hmm,
So in 27, he got the blessing, from Garvey.
mm-hmm,
Uh, and as far as Elijah Muhammad, or he was known as Elijah Poole and
mm-hmm.
Elijah Bay. He was a member of Temple Number 4 in Detroit, Michigan.
Mm.
Yeah. So not only him, uh, his brother, his wife, his brother's wife, uh, and Fard Muhammad was all members of the Moorish Science Temple.
Farad Muhammad was?
All of them. They were all members. That's how they got. See, the Moorish Temple in Detroit was the biggest temple. Now,
Mm-hmm.
mind you, I read to you from that artifact that said there was 3,000 members of the West Side Temple in
Yeah,
Chicago.
yeah.
they had even more in Detroit.
In Detroit, yeah.
This one particular temple, Temple Number 4.
Mhm.
When Temple Number 4 disbanded because the brother was stealing money, that was $1 million temple. That temple was producing a large amount of economy. Okay, because at that time, every Moorish science temple had its own school, it
Mhm.
had its own grocery store, it had its own ice delivery. Because at that time, people had ice box,
Mhm.
not a
Yeah.
refrigerator, so you didn't plug it in. It was you put a block of ice in that thing, and that kept it cool. And you would chip off pieces of ice for your drinks or for whatever you needed for. And
Mhm.
so they were industrious. They had newspapers. They were they had they were catering events. They were doing. They were very industrious. Okay, had businesses on businesses. And when Temple Number 4 disbanded, you can imagine over 3,000 Moors.
Mhm.
I don't know the exact number, um, but it was well over 3,000 in Detroit. Now did not have a temple. The Elijah, Farad, Muhammad, his brother, etc., the wives, they all worked together. They basically took that portion of the movement over. That's how
Mm.
it started in Detroit. And that's how they started and were so strong off top because they were already in a group and Fard Muhammad had Islamic knowledge from elsewhere. And so he, put it all together and hey,
So that's the connection. That's the
that's what
connection between the Moorish Science Temple to the Nation of Islam.
that's why you will always hear either John Muhammad, if I'm
Mhm.
not saying his name correctly, one of Elijah's brothers, and you will also hear in some of the old videos, and you'll hear
Mhm.
Farrakhan also giving reverence to nobledrewali
That makes
for,
sense.
for these reasons. They say he's the first.
Yeah.
Like you didn't hear that before, but like now they're like, yeah, and he says, Elijah Muhammad always told me honor nobledrewali because
So from what I'm reading,
Mhm.
what you presented today,
Yes.
it's kind of like you don't have to reinvent the wheel to bring across this information to uplift the people.
Yeah, and matter of fact, every time it's reinvented, the wheel gets degraded, and
Mm.
it's not a shot at anybody.
Mhm.
But as an observer,
Mhm.
as a researcher, I can clearly see that when I look at the original glass,
Mhm.
it's pretty pure, right? And
Mhm.
so we were able to remove that black label and a few other things, but it's like every time somebody retouched it, they had to remix. And
Mhm.
so they kept Asiatic, but threw black back in,
Mhm.
right? But it was, but this is also a term of the oppressor again, right? This is what we were named. This was actually done legally starting in Portugal and then in
Mhm.
Spain when we went from Moor to Morisco
Oh, I
to
see.
Negro. And then in America, we're black because we
I
speak
got you.
English, you know?
Because sometimes just knowing how everything switched over from the Native Americans, which were the Moors here,
There you
and then
go.
they throw that title black on them, but it didn't even start there. It started before that.
So again, for that, then you look at Horace Greeley.
Mhm.
There was a European, Horace Greeley. He was the head
Mhm.
of the with the red wigs,
Mhm.
right? He was had some dealings and some legislation where he had proposed legislation that made so-called Native Americans or Indians
Yeah.
black. And
Black.
so
Yeah.
at that point, if you
It
was
was a
Native,
rap.
yo, man, you better figure it out.
Yeah.
You had to figure
Yeah.
something out quick because
Because you on an island all by yourself.
that's why they did not have to go. That's why when you look at the list, like of all the countries that received slaves from
Mhm.
Africa, we got the least amount.
Mhm.
We didn't even hit a million according to the record.
Yeah.
Like 600,000, something like that.
Mhm.
So all of those other millions, that other 12 million roughly that's accounted for, went to other places.
Mhm.
but there was 100 million people here, and
Yeah.
I don't want to look.
That's a whole different topic.
I don't want to get into the math and start really breaking it down. We could do it again. We could do a whole show on
Yeah,
that.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And
That was a big thing. That was a big thing for me.
Mhm.
And that's another thing. And it's good that you brought in the Moorish aspect. But I think when we come back, maybe we could do like a part 2
Mhm.
talking about that in more detail. you know, no
Yeah,
pun
right.
intended. But in a more detail, going into the fact of just the Native American, how we were already here.
Oh yeah, that's
We were
hilarious.
already here chilling, doing our had our own. I was reading this one thing, and it was talking about one of the oldest um modern day structures
Mhm.
is a mosque out in like somewhere like Omaha or something like that, or Idaho or something. It's like
Right.
the corn mosque or something like that. It
Probably that there's references that they were practicing Islam as early as 700 AD.
Yeah, 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 yeah. But
Yeah,
and a lot of these courthouses were the ones were already erected by the Native American black, like all of these old structures here in America, modern day. I ain't talking about like other things like in the Grand Canyon and stuff, but this stuff was stuff we already built because we were the only people here.
look, man. I mean, somebody I like for that kind of stuff is Clyde Winters. He does a
Hmm.
great job, I think, showing the connection between like the Anasazi or
Yeah,
the Mayan, the
Anasazi.
Olmec, and then the
Hmm.
Dogon, and
Yeah,
shows how like
exactly.
this is the same people.
Same
They
people.
speak the
Yeah.
same language. They have the same glyphs. Like
Hmm.
Clyde Winters is cold. There's
Yeah,
certain
yeah,
people
yeah,
that
yeah.
try to be like, oh, he's not official, but I, I look, I find him to be quite official.
Yeah,
If,
yeah, 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 yeah. No, if you find to be quite efficient, then I'm
yeah,
gonna have to get up on
I
it.
try to look. I even people I like, I try to poke holes. I
Yeah.
do because if I can, man, if I can get to the bottom of stuff, man, I think that's the most important part. Even
Hmm.
if, um, because I think one of the things that makes the research that I do a little bit different is that
Hmm.
even though, you know, with Chancellor Williams, I don't necessarily
Hmm.
agree with him, but I said I agree with that one part.
Hmm.
Even when there's things that I don't agree with, if I find
Hmm.
that those things that I don't agree with are actually true,
Hmm.
that's what I'm rolling with.
Hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah, 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 yeah.
so that's I'm not ashamed of dealing with the dark part of the history, or the dirty part, or the part that's gonna make stuff seem kind of funny. That's why I
I
brought up
just
the fact that the Moors enslaved the Europeans first.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
That's why
I had a
usually
conversation.
no, go ahead.
No, 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 no. I just had a conversation about that earlier with a brother because we were because we were actually talking about Bobby Hemmett, right?
Okay,
And I
yeah,
was just like, he was just like he said off the wall stuff. I was like, yeah, ain't nobody perfect. You take the good and the good, and throw away the rest of the stuff. You know what I'm
that's
saying?
right.
But go ahead.
No, you got a good point with Bobby. Because one thing I have to give brother Bobby credit for, and I've been in the school of Bobby since at least '94
Hmm.
myself. All right,
Hmm.
so I'm talking about early in the game. This is when he was on the radio here in Atlanta, so I was
Hmm.
listening to him every day.
Yeah, 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 I can imagine that.
Every day he was on 89.3 every night, Monday through
Mm.
Friday. Panther Power Hour is what they used to call it, right? And Night Watch. They had all of these different metaphysical shows. They had everybody that everybody loved. These people was like the main, is like just regulars, right?
Hmm.
And C. Freeman L, all them
Oh,
guys, all that stuff was just that was like my nightly
yeah, yeah,
study
yeah,
as a teenager.
yeah.
And but Bobby, what makes Bobby special
Hmm.
in his work to me, and I'm not. This is just my opinion.
Yeah, yeah,
Is,
yeah.
is that Bobby always give you a reference?
Reference. Yep, I agree 100%.
It don't matter if
Yep.
he's talking about outer space or if he's talking about magic or
Hmm.
whatever, and however you feel about those topics
Hmm.
is really not the relevancy for me. The relevancy is when somebody make a statement can they back it up?
Bobby be like this all the time. He be like
Showing proof.
on page
He go get the
3.
book. That's right. He page 56.
Yeah, this is
I can't argue with that.
yeah,
Forget what he's talking about. The brother come with, so at least you have a chance to be like, oh, no,
yeah.
that don't, you can either agree or not, but at least he's being transparent.
Hmm.
And for me, that's important in scholarship.
I didn't see. I did my own self studying.
Mhm.
You know, on my awakening journey. You know what I'm saying? And like I remember, I had one of the first scrolls by Dr. York. It was called Our Bondage, right?
Okay.
And I'm looking at this book and I'm seeing these words and it breaking down all the languages and stuff and all this kind of stuff. I'm just like, what? I was like, I just thought the Bible was,
Mhm.
the that it was just the word that was in the Bible. I didn't know there was a whole language behind it. I didn't know it was different scripts and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And ever since I saw that type of stuff, it always put me into the mindset of scholarship.
Yeah.
Always, because there was no way to say, because it was always. Remember when we were sitting back at Sadiq's, we were talking, and you
Uh,
were like, when I took but Dr. York said, "Don't believe me, check it out," to a whole new level. You know, what I'm saying?
right.
You know what I'm saying?
That
And
was
it's like,
important.
yeah,
That
yeah,
was
you got,
important.
yeah. It's you got to do that research, man. You
Mhm.
you you got to do, and I love that aspect of all those scholarship. Everybody, Dr. Ben, you know what I'm saying? All that
Yeah.
stuff, man. All this stuff, and going back around, we're saying that that's like all that stuff. These people, starting with like nobledrewali, all going forward. Now it's like they all have been keeping the ones that are supposed to be awake and ready for this time,
Yeah.
prepared and ready for now.
Yeah. And think about the last, dispensation while Doc was still around.
Hmm.
He transitioned to the Moorish. What is it?
Exactly. Hmm.
Moorish Nawabian. What was he again? I'm
The
sorry.
Nawapian Nation of Moors.
Nawabian Nation of Moors. And
Hmm. Yeah.
I bought that book.
Hmm.
That thing
Yeah.
was thick.
Yeah, it's thick book. Yeah, I remember that. I didn't know nothing about it till I read that book. I
Yeah.
had no clue. I don't know why people wearing fezzes and stuff. I didn't know. I didn't know. I was like,
Yeah.
dang.
It's ancient. I mean,
Yeah.
look at that old statue of Khufu.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Got his red fez on.
You got a red fez. Mental hotep. Yep. Yeah.
I mean, you can go down the line.
Yeah.
Many
You
of
got that line. Yep.
even Nefertiti got a fresh,
Yeah. Yeah.
different kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah. 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 She had that ill fez.
right, right. So, and there's many different ones. You go through history, you're gonna see the different types. You're gonna see all different types. Even if you go into Angkor Wat. Matter of fact, oh man, sitting in the right spot. Look at that. Oh, can you see that?
Yep. Mm-hmm. I see it.
Hold on. Let me see. Let me show you. See if I can show you something real quick. I think this is on like the first couple of pages. This book is like massive. Give me 1 second. Just wanted to show you one of the fezzed up brothers if it's not too deep in the book. I feel like there was one early. I mean, they were in here. I just had to do that another day, probably.
Yeah,
I
it's all good.
wasn't ready for that one.
Round two.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think that's a good topic because I think that to talk about round two, just that historical aspect, that's historical truth about Native American blacks, Native American
yeah.
Indians, Aboriginals. I think that
Man,
we need. Mm,
it's deep. You know
yeah,
why?
it's real deep, man.
Because you actually, the levels that you have to actually go to.
Hmm.
I mean, we have Mayan settlements in North Georgia.
Hmm.
A Mayan settlement
Yeah.
an hour north of me.
Yep.
What? What?
You talking about Etowah Mounds?
Mm-mm.
Something different.
Yeah, it's a Mayan settlement.
Oh, dang! You got to put me on to that now.
Man, we go when I'm gonna put it together for that one.
Yeah. Let's
Um,
let's go ahead and do that now. Let's do this part two
yeah,
on the Native American aspect And when
Yeah,
you're
we have
ready,
to
we're
get
gonna come back
into
on.
it.
We're gonna run it,
We
man.
got because we have to go into the Anasazi. We're
Mhm,
gonna have to go into these bones that are 60, 70,000 years
mhm,
found in South America.
mhm.
We gotta. There's a lot of stuff to touch on.
You know, the brother Lavelle Rouser, he was on my first podcast when I started this, and he gave me a book talking about it went into detail about the connection between the Mayans and the Olmecs, and pretty much how the
The sheep.
Olmecs were predated everything, and the Mayans came along later on
That's
and
right.
was
The
just
sheep.
like, yeah,
The
yeah, yeah, yeah,
the North
and
are called
because
sheep.
yeah, you already know, like, because I travel, I went to Teotihuacan, I've been to Chichen Itza,
Mhm.
and I'm seeing this stuff. And I'm seeing some, and I went to that museum in Mexico City,
Okay.
and I'm seeing some of this stuff of these these what do you call them murals and all the different stuff,
Oh yeah.
and I'm just like, yo, that's me. Or well, that's not me. My great great
Yep.
uncle Leroy. You know what I'm saying? But
Brothers with locks all the way
yeah,
down to the foot,
I seen it with myself, my own eyes, man.
leopard skin.
Leopard skin. I've seen it, my own eyes, bro.
Look, the
I've seen it.
first time I saw it when I was because I took a real big interest in history at about 13, 14.
Mm-hmm,
I started collecting National Geographics, right? And I came across this one with the Mayans, and I was like, exactly what you're talking about. And it
mm-hmm,
had these big fold outs.
mm-hmm.
I said, hold up, these ain't
Yeah,
Mexican. Like
yeah, no, 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 no,
these don't
no.
look like Aztecs. I'm like, hold
Mm-mm.
up. Like you said, this look like my uncle. This look
Mhm.
like, you know.
Yeah,
So when you see that, you have to, you can't ignore it. Again,
yeah,
you see a lot of so-called natives are trying to deny that. They
yeah.
are in
I
arms.
seen that crap.
But you see that the elders of those people,
Mhm,
say, "Mm-mm,
mm.
those are our daddies.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
I
mommy and daddy."
the way when I would travel around and I would talk to the people that knew,
Yeah.
they would always talk. They were actually a lot of them were very proud to talk about their African ancestry.
Oh yeah.
Especially the elders, the people that knew, they were like, yeah, we, Mexican, we we come from black folks. So just traveling around, I heard that a lot. But
Yeah.
man, this was a great build, brother.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
indeed.
saying?
Indeed.
You know what I'm saying? It's so
We
funny
need
because
that
it's
too.
like if we would just put a camera on some of our previous conversations, you know.
Look, we only just crack the surface a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
just
We
wanted
gonna,
to
we
like
gonna,
show some things, man, and hopefully it sparks some thoughts and some
yeah,
ideas in people's head.
yeah,
And
yeah. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this the Native American thing. That's the next joint we're gonna do it because, and just like you did, man. Present it. I know you're gonna be thorough with it, man. And is there anything? Because I'm gonna tell you something, man.
yeah,
Because I'm up in Virginia for right now,
yeah.
and I was going through my cabinets and I got some of your marshmallow tea
Oh
that you
yeah,
got.
indeed. Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? And just so you know, it did work, for my
Yeah,
son. Yeah, it
definitely.
did that, in
Um,
every aspect of it. So
Beautiful.
if you want to, kind of end it out, see where, and you can put it in the chat too, so I can put it up there, but you know, where they could get your herbs. I'm gonna tell everybody I would highly recommend it going to this. You still at the same spot?
Yeah, we're actually 100% online, but we
Okay.
are in the marketplace at the same spot.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool.
We
Cool.
don't have the time anymore to be there all day.
Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine that.
Mhm.
So I would highly recommend, and this is through my personal experience, to holler this brother and any ailments that you got going on, him and his wife. You know what I'm saying? They can get you straight, especially with
Yeah.
this this.
History, this more science. This is what I live that, and history is like fun to me. So I love
Mhm,
doing research. But what I went to school for was for
mhm,
traditional Chinese medicine, herbology,
mhm,
acupuncture, all of those beautiful things to help people reach their holistic goals, to reach their health
mhm.
goals in life. So we have a website that people can visit. It's smypharmacy.com. It's right up on the screen there, www.smypharmacy. Smy also getting into a little bit of Egyptian uh, mythos, if you will. Um,
Mhm.
so it stands for Sekhmet's Medicine Awakens Imhotep. And pharmacy is obviously a play on the word farm because we do
Mm,
not use any kind of pharmaceuticals. But my wife is a farmer. We have a
mm,
small little farm and we grow our own herbs. So that's where you get SMI Pharmacy from. So yeah, if
mm.
you have any questions, we do holistic consultations. If you're having a baby, and you need like supplements to make sure that you have everything you need, we got you. If you're dealing with any kind of viruses right now, especially in these days and times, we have an immunity builder box that helps people stave off certain viruses that may be planned. Gimmicks. You know,
Them heebie-jeebies.
yeah, so we've been helping people with that for the since March 2020, off
Mm.
top, and yeah, we are going to continue to help people um, every day. That's what we do. So if y'all need us, just reach out. You got the website. There's a number on there if you need to call us. If you need to make an appointment, you can do that as well, and we'll be glad to help you out.
Well, on that note, you know what I'm saying? This was a great build, man. And I'm excited to repost this so, to get this out everywhere to people to get this information. Cause, you already know the way I roll, man. I'm trying to get, this is an information age and we got to get that right knowledge out to the people, man.
That's a
Real
fact.
talk. You know
That's
what
a
I'm
fact.
saying? We got to get the right knowledge, this right information. We got to get, our people up to speed, you know, cause,
Yes.
um, but yeah, man, much love, my brother. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
Much love to
honest to you,
you.
man.
And much love to you and the family.
Yes,
And
indeed.
you know what I'm saying? We're gonna build on part two. Whenever you're ready to make it happen,
Hey,
let me know. We're gonna make it happen again.
just reach out to me. We'll make it happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
All
saying?
right. Well, I'm gonna conclude on that.
Yes,
Again,
sir.
as you see, that's all the information here for the brother. You can connect. They can contact you there as well, right?
That's right. Just
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
link me on the website, and
Yeah.
yep, you can
Yeah.
call.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
If,
Yeah.
if it's
Yeah.
late, just leave a
Yeah.
message.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's real good at getting back with you. I'm gonna tell you on that. So,
Yeah.
on that end, we're gonna end this episode 3 with my brother, Dr. Gabriel Hernandez-El.
Well, family,
And
love you.
we're gonna see y'all next time.
Yes.
Peace.
Peace.